Hello Valorant Chads and Chadettes, welcome into a huge video on the latest Valorant update, which is the most disruptive Valorant update that I have seen in years. There are a few big, crucial questions that I will be answering in this video, but I'm going to give you an answer right now, nice and early, just to give you your money's worth. Is this the end for Sage? Honestly, yeah, it is. I really believe it is, and I'm going to get into my reasons why a little bit further on in the video. But if you want to see those reasons right now, I'm going to leave some chapters in the description, so feel free to just click forward and be disappointed nice and early, if you're a Sage main. Before we start, I would love to hear all of your thoughts in the comments below. Are you a Sage or maybe a Chamber main or somebody who just plays them a lot? How is this going to affect you? How is this going to affect the agents you pick in the future and how you play the game in general? Any and all comments are appreciated, so thanks guys. Anyway, no time to waste, so let's jump straight on in. That was that cute little heart that people do. I'm too old for this. We're going to start with Chamber, and he has been completely reworked, and in my opinion, for the better of the game, not for Chamber 1 tricks. I made a 60-second shorts about all those changes that are coming up, but I'm going to touch on some of the big ones now anyway. If you want to watch that, I'll leave it in the description. Rendezvous is Chamber's TP or teleport, and it works very similarly to Yoru's teleport in that it can completely change your position on the map at the click of a finger, but no more. Instead of having two anchors that you can teleport between, you now only get one, and you're only able to teleport back to that original anchor if you're within range of it. This brings a new challenge of strategically placing the anchor or teleport in a place that it can't get shot, because with the new update, if your teleport gets shot out, you can't use it for the rest of the round. Also, the radius of the teleport has also been decreased from 15 to 13 meters. But, and this is a huge but, there is no cooldown on recalling the TP, meaning you can move around with your teleport a little bit more quickly than you used to be able to, but you are still limited to teleporting back to that one anchor. What this means in general is that Chamber is likely to be more attached to one site instead of flicking between two sites like he used to be able to do on maps like Bind. And honestly, in my opinion, this suits his role as a sentinel significantly more than having two teleports. And a lot of the small tweaks to agents in this update are based around making them more suited to the actual role that they're supposed to play. On top of that, when you teleport, your gun pull-out time has changed from 0.4 to 0.7 seconds. So again, teleport placement is going to be really important, because if you're out in the open, you're going to teleport back and it's going to take that little bit longer to get your gun out and you're dead. Chamber's trips have also been nerfed and will only work if he's in range of the trip itself. And the actual size of the slow has been reduced by 30%, with the slow time being reduced from 6 to 4 seconds. That's a huge nerf. But again, this places huge emphasis on Riot wanting Chamber to be a sentinel and not just being a makeshift duelist who has a get out of jail free card. Another small change to that is he can recall his trip whenever he wants. He doesn't need line of sight, but he does have a 30-second cooldown on being able to use it again. Lastly, Chamber's ulti Tour de Force has had its crazy fire rate reduced by 57.5%. Meaning instead of getting an insane operator with a jet engine attached to it for speed, he pretty much gets a regular operator, as well as his sidearm being nerfed so that you're unable to spray as much as you used to be able to. All things considered, I find these to be great changes for Chamber. He's no longer going to be used, like I said, as a makeshift duelist, and I think in the long run, it's actually going to work out really well, because people who play Chamber will now be able to play him like an actual sentinel, and there will be significantly more emphasis on playing for your team rather than just using him to run out and hopefully get a kill and then teleport back, though most of the time I was just getting shot. So if you're a run and gun one head Andy, then Chamber may no longer be the option for you. But don't worry, Jet and Reyna still exist. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, why don't you subscribe? It's literally free real estate. Anyway, that's all, back to the video. Now I'll go through the other agent updates, as pretty much nobody has been spared, but they are mostly minor tweaks. Cypher's trips have had their HP increased from 1 to a massive 20 HP, which pretty much means nothing, as almost every gun does at least 20 HP damage. But Cypher's had huge buffs recently and it's good to see him back in the meta. You can call me Ronald McDonald because as an ex-Cypher main, I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Pay me McDonald's. Fade gets a slight nerf with her Prowler going from 100 to 60 HP. I have no real problem with that, that's all good to me. Harbor's High Tide Wall gets a little bit of a buff with its duration going from 12 to 15 seconds. And his Moving Cascade Wall has had its duration increased from 5 to 7 seconds. These are minor changes and I still don't see Harbor getting picked all that often because there are simply better choices to play his kind of role in a more useful way. KO's Knife has also had its HP increase from 1 to a massive 20, which again makes no difference. But in a slight nerf, his ultimate, instead of requiring 7 orbs, now requires 8, which considering how disarming the ultimate can be, I guess I understand. I still feel like it's a little bit unnecessary though. Killjoy's ultimate gets a buff as well, with its HP going from 150 to 200, which again doesn't really change a whole lot, as well as her Nano Swarm grenades going from 1 to 20 HP. Again, this changes very little about how you're going to play Killjoy. Omen's Paranoia sees a price decrease from 300 to 250, which is fair and pretty good for all you O-men and O-women, and O-non-specified, and O-prefer not to say. Raze sees her Boombot get nerfed from 100 down to 60 HP, as well as her satchels going from 1 to 20 HP. Again, very minor changes that won't change the way she's played. Sova's Dart also gets an increase from 1 to 20 HP. I'm noticing a trend here. What I think Riot is trying to do is make it so that you can't shoot this util through walls and do very minor damage while still destroying it. So they've bumped up a lot of that util to 20 HP, but anyway, I don't think it's going to make a big difference. Skye gets a bit of a nerf and a buff with her dog going from 250 credits to 300, but her heal is going from 200 down to 150, which again makes Sage look worse and worse. Viper's ulti has had a rework with its, wait, I gotta read this. Smoke integrity regeneration time increased from 5 to 25, as well as your max time out of the smoke reduced from 15 to 8. All this means is that basically if you're using your Viper ultimate, you're going to be forced to stay in the smoke. But as far as I know, that's pretty much what everybody does anyway. But again, in an unnecessary blow, they've changed the ultimate orb amount from 7 to 8, much like KO's ultimate. I find this a little bit unnecessary and I'm not really sure why they're doing it. Maybe because Sage's ultimate is the only one with 8 orbs required and they don't want her to feel alone? I don't know. Yoru has also seen some slight changes with his TP being reduced from 100 to 60 HP, but the price has also dropped from 200 to 150, so it's quite balanced. Now I want to talk about Sage. What did she do to hurt you, Riot? Did she bully you in high school and then eventually you became her boss and felt the need to flex your power over her? In what seems like a minor change to Sage, it actually changes completely the way that she would be played if played at all. Her self-heals have been nerfed through the roof and no longer heal 60 HP for yourself, but instead will only do 30, whilst healing a teammate will do 100. In my opinion, and I'm not saying this as a current or maybe ex-Sage main, but one of the great things about playing Sage was the ability to play her differently whether you're on attack or defense. But due to this, being able to battle Sage has pretty much been killed. No one will pick her if they want to play her slightly aggressively because healing yourself is still pretty much one bullet from almost any gun. What you're going to find is that all of the Sage mains instead are going to move to Skye because not only are her heals significantly better, but also her flashes give significantly better recon and do way more for the team than Sage's slow orbs. I mean, think about it. Why would you go through the hell of playing Sage and hearing heal, 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 heal from all of your teammates when you can't even be self-sufficient on attack? And as we all know, the ACS or average combat score is pretty much all about getting kills, getting assists, and doing things like that. So if you're going to be playing Sage, you're going to be sitting at the back, healing teammates, pretty much doing nothing else. You're going to get lower ACS scores and you're going to find it much more difficult to rank up. Her wall has also had a bit of a nerf with its fortification time going from 3 to 3.3 seconds, which just means when you use the wall, it's going to take that little bit longer to go fully hard. And in my opinion, the wall was good, but it wasn't a great piece of util anyway, especially at the cost of 400 credits. So do I think this is the end for Sage? Well, yes, I answered that at the start of the video. But again, I don't feel people will play Sage anywhere near as much anymore because almost every other Sentinel offers more for the team. You can't play Battle Sage anymore. Her util doesn't really help that much anymore, making her kind of a nothing agent. I look forward to the buffs in 6 months when they realize that they've pretty much nerfed her into non-existence. Now, I won't get too into all of the new damage updates that util and other things can do because it's extensive, but I'm going to put them on the screen in a few seconds, and if you want, you can just pause the video and read through them all at your own leisure, but honestly, you're probably not going to notice a whole lot of them until you actually play the game itself. There is also an update to the Spectre which sees it get a third distance range for its bullets, namely 30 meters plus. But basically 0 to 15 meters is going to do 26 damage, 15 to 30 is going to do 22 damage, and anything over 30 meters will do 20 damage. It's not a big change and it doesn't really change anything about how the gun operates or works, but it does just reaffirm that the gun itself is made for short range gunfights. Lastly, thank you, Riot. That's right, baby. Split is back. Yes, it may be at the expense of Bind, which is a map that I do love but does need a little bit of work. But that will be back, I'm sure, in a few chapters' time. Oh, and Breeze was taken out, which is terrible. Now, it hasn't actually been confirmed that Split will be in this update, but having done my own research and a few insider leaks and things like that, it's looking very likely that the new update, which should drop in the next fortnight or so, will include Split. Now, if you're new to Valorant and you've never played Split, you're in for a treat. I'm excited to see how they've changed an old favorite. So I think overall, a lot of these changes have been done to make sure that agents are more aligned with their actual roles. And I think it will create a better balance across the board. But on the other hand, what these updates are doing is making it very, very difficult to be fluid with your team and with your agent and play them in different ways depending on the situation. In the professional scene, this is going to make very little difference as teams have specific rosters for specific maps and everybody is kind of insane anyway. But in things like competitive and unrated, you're going to find a lot more confusion and a lot more difficulty in getting that right balance and team chemistry. No longer can you run 3 controllers and then Chamber and a duelist, because Chamber is pretty much no longer a makeshift duelist. No longer can you battle Sage if you need it. It changes the landscape of the agents and the game itself and how it's played, which, if I'm being honest, keeps the game fresh, keeps it exciting, but it's a bit of a kick in the teeth to those people who learn how to play an agent to the best of its abilities as well as their own abilities. And all this does is lead on to my theory that you should never be a one-trick anything. Learn how to play at least one agent from all the different subsects and different roles in order to be useful to your team. There is no point in just being a Reyna one trick. That doesn't help anybody, especially if somebody picks that Reyna. So go out there, play some unrated, learn a few different roles, make yourself a more well-rounded player, and you will see yourself fly through the ranks. So in general, a big thumbs up to Riot for this update, although I still feel sad for Sage. But I'm sure we'll see her again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you all have a really great festive period. Peace out from your boy Soy, and I will catch you next time.